Summer is typically a hot season with plenty of sun to be felt, but when an anime season can match the heat from the outside world and bring it in the form of fantastic new series with a handful of gripping carryovers, well, that's just wonderful. Summer was simply a fantastic season of anime, with a good dozen of series that had me excited week by week or enjoying a fun binge when the season was coming to a close. MAPPA is one of, if not my favorite studios in anime these days, and though this series may have fallen under many people's radar, I'm here to say it's another great entry to MAPPA's catalog. This series should just be a Monster of the Week show about a man hunting his comrades who all have lost themselves to their beast powers that helped to win a war to quickly be abandoned shortly after. And though it technically is that, it also isn't. See, at every episode I would think about how this story would function, both with the end goal and the current monster of this week. But very quickly, by the time an episode ended, I would think all they did was slightly change some aspects that every other Monster of the Week series would do, but in result made for something I never walked out comparing to other shallow series, but rather I walked out saying, that's an emotionally gripping post-war tale. A good chunk of this season is weekly stories of hunting down fallen soldiers who have lost themselves to their beast abilities, but as the world and characters open up even more, the ones you might think are just stereotypical tag-along objects all will flesh out into a real person before the season even wraps up. This isn't the peak of production you might normally associate with this studio, but for the story being told here, the rough around the edges look aided to the story more than it hindered it, and I surely hope more will give this gem a chance. I watched the first episode of Copcraft at the beginning of the season and I thought this would be a fun buddy cop. So I waited for the series to get far ahead so I could binge it in one session, and what a delightful experience that was. Copcraft almost functions like two movies over the first season. The first third of this anime feels like an hour-and-a-half flick of the first movie of a trilogy, so when the remainder of the season kicks in we get the next installment to said trilogy. I love detective series in live action formats, but with anime I can only point to a very select few that I've enjoyed. Thankfully, Copcraft is being added to that list. First and foremost, this series is fun, but most importantly, the relationship between a human and his now alien partner is the star of the show. This world opened up a rift that allows crisscrossing of both species, that because we have aliens wandering the street of Earth, racism and crime is on the rise for both sides. Both of the central characters start off with the same end goal, but quickly form a fun bond that having two very different people interacting and solving crime together was a blast that never grew stale. The production remained solid overall, with few dips here and there, but when it came to the up-close and personal action, the way they directed these scenes truly had me on the edge of my seat watching scenes that are best described as exhilarating. If more buddy cops aim to be like what's seen here, anime would be a lot better off. By putting the emphasis on fun character banter and development, it makes viewers engage with every scene they're in, as gimmicks to the story are never the highlight, but rather the character's relationship is what's most important, but also most memorable. Copcraft is full of personality, and is my favorite binge of the season that I had the pleasure of viewing in this format. Where with Copcraft, binging was my preferred method of watching, with Astra Lost in Space, the weekly pondering sessions is what made this so spectacular. A group of kids going for a little adventure to space camp, but everything goes wrong and they end up lost in space. But with every step on the way home, the mystery and conspiracy grows deeper and deeper. That lets everyone quickly realize this wasn't a random disaster, but someone is out to get them, with even one of their own potentially being an enemy. The best part to this show, ignoring how every character is a person and quickly loses their trope, is that you constantly guess who the traitor is while the anime sneakily keeps the true emphasis on the why they are meant to be killed, not who among them or around them is trying to end their life. The constant growth and personal details among all the characters helps to give it a sense of humanity, while keeping it fun and overall fresh with aspects anime is typically known for, allowing for the series to have moments to breathe while we decompress from the emotional turmoil we just experienced. But the main hook of why did this all happen is the real selling point for Astra Lost in Space. It was just a perfectly paced and structured series overall that I won't be forgetting anytime soon. I'll admit that I'm not fully caught up to the second half of this wonderful story, but with everything that I've seen so far with its second core, it's just as amazing as I was hoping for after completing the first half. It's no surprise this is succeeding at being another must-watch from Watanabe, but I guess if you needed any more reasons to watch it, I guess me saying to watch it hopefully will get you to finally binge this gem. But then again, maybe you're just waiting for Netflix as always to release the full series. Anyway, I'll be doing a full review in the future because this deserves a deep dive in its own video. I walked into Dr. Stone cautious but sort of optimistic. The trailer, truthfully, didn't do much for me and made the one character Taiju look like an oaf who would annoy me. Instead, what I received was amazing characters across the board that just so happened to make me laugh every episode from a little to a lot. Dr. Stone isn't a series meant to be compared to our own world. I mean, there's characters who wake up from 1,000-year slumber, or you have one man capable of restoring the Stone Age back to modern day Earth. You can't compare it to reality. Otherwise, you're ruining anime for no reason and being bitter for the wrong reasons. That said, this anime does make perfect sense for the world of Dr. Stone. When technological progress is made, it makes sense. They explain everything enough without making it go dry, feeling as if it's aiming for the wrong things, creating a History Channel special rather than a fun anime. Viewers understand how and why something happens, but it never drags it out with the mundane aspects. Instead, it focuses on everything being fresh and exciting, while we do understand how they got to the next step. Be it the comedic direction to the exhilarating progression, every part to the series is just a blast to follow. I thought I might have some fun with this one, but I wasn't expecting to beat my chest like a caveman singing its praise, yet here we are. When I was catching up on Railgun and Index, the key aspect that always stood out was the man leading this tale seen here, Accelerator. He could get under your skin, make you laugh, and make your jaw drop in awe from his badass moves. The aspect I enjoy with this universe overall is how if you were to just take this series as an example and only watch this, you might have some fun with it, but that's it. Watch together with the other series and you see this world open up with multiple perspectives and unique stories being played out for each series. So after experiencing both Railgun and Index, having this just feels like the icing on the cake. It's action-packed, it's hilarious, there's solid dialogue at points as well. By itself, it might be viewed as just okay, but combined with its other associated series, I just continue to expand my love for this world and franchise overall. The first season of the show was fun. It had its fair share of aspects I don't like about anime, primarily seen by how certain character designs make people say they are the Mona Lisa rather than focusing on more important aspects to storytelling, but it's fun. I once again had fun with this series and cast overall. Is it some masterpiece? No, but I had an entertaining popcorn flick experience, and if they continue to make more, I'll probably keep watching. It's an easy way to kill a few hours over a couple of nights, and the production remains tight with the fun factor remaining solid overall. By the end of the first core, I was already mesmerized by how this series did everything right when it came to crafting a character drama, but most importantly, a character study series. With its second core, it's just even better, and more emotionally gripping than the first 12 episodes. The more we see with this world and its characters, the more we see how everyone has a purpose, but not in the cliche way of everything has to lead to a plot point. No, Fruits Basket has a living and breathing world. Simple scenes that some might want to call slice of life, to the intense sequences to make your blood boil with rage. The good and the bad of life is represented, and no one is a trope or cliche, but rather a person who develops and gets fleshed out to the point even characters who make you mad are always well written. I'm so happy this is finally getting a full adaptation. Despite having the worst luck when it comes to when something can air after one of the worst tragedies ever happens, just after it begins airing, Fire Force still ended strong with its first of 4 planned cores. This season is running 2 before taking a break after the fall season. Many aspects that battle shonens are known for, they are present. There's literally a character designed to have fan service groping scenes latch onto her, and that's part of the writing. But with that said, even the elements I dislike about shonens, they might be there. But all the pros this series has going for it definitely outweigh the cons, at least for myself. The idea of an emotionally broken main character who anytime he's uncomfortable, he smiles like a villain, which in result makes people think he is a scumbag, and that's just unique and interesting for these kinds of series. But as the fire conspiracies get rolling, you see where this series really wants to go. The pros definitely become the only thing on your mind when you leave an episode of Fire Force, especially as the first core is wrapping up. This has massive potential to be outstanding whenever the anime decides to wrap up, and currently I have nothing but excitement for this series as I wait for my next dose of Fire Force goodness. Whether you want intense action, entertaining laughs, fan service, amazing animation, or conspiracies, this anime kinda hits all the notes. Mari Okada is a blessing to the world of anime. Some have voiced their displeasure with how she writes characters, but those displeasures are my love for what I consider to be accurate and realistic portrayals of human nature. This is a series about growing up and the sexual desires that drive us insane as we reach adulthood. This is presented from a female cast point of view, which gives a new and fresh outlook on the subject matter at hand while touching upon topics ranging from the general childhood friend to crush route, teacher-student curiosity that many might fantasize about while growing up, someone thinking, what's wrong with me and why can't can I like any guys around me, as she realizes that men might not actually be who she's interested in. It's even the toxic and disgusting elements like predators, how they groom young and innocent minds. When it touches upon the creepy, Mari makes sure you and everyone knows it's creepy. But when you grow up, it's not always pleasant, and the way adults to even your own emotions manipulate you into toxic situations is frightening, and I don't recall the last time an anime maturely handled topics such as these. But the more genuine and sweet sides to romance are equally memorable, as they make you laugh at the cringy relatability to the sweet and painful sides of high school love. This is a must watch. It will make you laugh, it will make you tense up as you feel disturbed, but most importantly, it will make you relate to many of the hardships of growing up that in hindsight were usually pretty simple. There's a single episode in the back half that trended globally. And now, yes, a good amount of those people claiming Anime of the Year were just watching for the animation, let's not kid ourselves. But even stripping away the amazing production value this anime has going for it, the characters and writing is why I sung its praise week by week. The way humans to demons flourish and get explored is masterclass. A demon who makes you want to see it die for what it's done will in its dying moments remind you how it was once human, and it never asked to be a monster, and that will turn your rage into sorrow, mirroring its main character. This is a series where wounds have consequences, actions have to be backed by logic, else face the death penalty, where you can have most of the second half of the season set in a forest and find new ways to keep the arc gripping non-stop. Demon Slayer may be viewed on the outside as a pretty shonen with no actual depth, but believe me when I say it has a lot of depth to its writing. I have an entire video dedicated to why this series is so great, so if you need any more reasons to watch it, and you haven't already, so yeah, go watch that. But I really hope this gets a full adaptation, because even its mangaka is crying about how amazing this production is. To be honest, I've grown numb to most Type Moon Fate-related series after seeing my fair share of them in all these Holy Grail wars. But when I see Waver from Fate Zero helming his own series that isn't just another war, screw it, I'm in. Though I didn't think much of the OVA that aired before this season, I was pleasantly surprised by how much fun I had watching what's basically a scaled-down version of Sherlock Holmes set in the world of Fate. So the mysteries we solve are related to interesting circumstances in the world of Type Moon and Fate world in general, which in result creates unique scenarios that are just fun to follow. While the detective stories aren't anything close to the classic Holmes tales, it finds its own footing while setting itself apart in a fun enough manner that I didn't leave thinking, here we go, another Fate anime. I actually walked out thinking this was its own series, which is rather impressive, as like I mentioned, I'm kinda numb to the universe anymore, so any project that can restore my faith in more Type Moon content is always a plus in my books. For years, there's been a single name that I recall seeing pop up every single week that apparently deserved an anime adaptation, and its name was Vinland Saga. The series with godly art, characters that make you laugh and cry, and a story so vast that it stomps on any and all series. And now we finally have it from Wit Studio, and thank God we waited to get it, because the team took their experience with Attack on Titan and brought that quality and dedication to another source material they loved, so we received this bad boy. This is a living and breathing environment. One of the worst time periods we can pull from, and they never shy away from how brutal the era of Vikings was. Conquering lands, killing innocents for gold or fun, and a desire for revenge for the one who killed your father, turning you from delusional kid to ruthless warrior. It's brilliant. Watch it. Why haven't you watched it already? And if you have watched it, go watch it again, and also again. This was a fantastic season of anime. You could watch an anime about dumbbells to ones about Vikings, meaning for the most part, wherever you looked, you'd find a unique way to have fun this season. But it wasn't just about having fun, it was also about having solid writing that thankfully most of the great anime this season were backed by not only solid production, but also competent script writers. With certain cases, such as Vinland Saga and Demon Slayer being above and beyond what any of us were expecting. This is one of those seasons that when I see the term anime of the season, I notice quite a few great picks that you won't even raise an eyebrow to, even if it doesn't match your own views, as there was just a ton of fantastic shows this season that many are worthy of titles such as those. But let's see if the fall season can match my current favorite season of 2019, the summer season. But hey, those are just my opinions on this season anyway. If you have your own, be sure to let me know yours down in that comment section below. Also remember to leave a like if you did enjoy, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't been new around here. Now lastly, there's my Patreon for those who want to go the extra mile and help support what I do around here even more. That is, if you so wish. So until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.